I just want to talk about something that came up this week during the webinar that I did. And I just wanted to do a brief live over it because there were some things that just came up and I've heard this over and over. So I just wanted to talk about it. And there's the theme of it is many of you, it's not that you don't want systems, it's that your brain is already overloaded and you can't do another thing. And so this is one of the things I'm hearing from business owners and also their team is systems are just another thing to do. I know I need systems, but I don't have the bandwidth. And I'll just do it after busy season because I just don't have time to deal with it right now. And the one I hear the most, I've tried systems before and it didn't stick. But what I want you to hear me say, it's not laziness. This isn't a discipline problem. It isn't a bad leader problem. It's overwhelm plus inner dialogue, the things we tell ourselves, and lack of structure feeding each other. Because when your brain is already full, everything new feels like an absolute threat, even if it would help. This alone will make you not actually execute on it. And I was talking with someone earlier today, and she said, it's just another something else to do. And she said, but the thing is, I know it could save me time if I just focused on tweaking the system that we already have. And that's the thing. Most of the time, we think we have to do a whole large overhaul, but we actually don't. We just have to make it better. And so I want to talk a little bit about our inner voices. And in this webinar, I went into what I called Negative Nadine. And she literally sits right here on my shoulder and she talks all the time. She never shuts up and she's constantly telling me I should be further now. I don't have time for this. She has told me this one, I don't have time for this at least 6 times already today. And it's not even 2:00. It won't work anyway. I'll just push through it. It would be faster if I do it myself. She told me that one 3 times today. And I had to tell her to be quiet. And I had to tell her to go to the other room and just quit. Because the thing is, the one where she said, it'll be faster if you do it yourself anyway. When she said it, I had to look back about what I have on my plate right now and I was looking at our task management system. I'm like, for it being February the 5th, I honestly don't have near as much as I did 4 years ago, 5 years ago, because I made time for it. And so then I battled the voice with, this is where I'm at now, because I did say, I have time for this. It's not faster if I do it myself. It won't work anyway. And changed it to, it will work. Those are the things I've had to teach myself to start doing. Because the thing is with Nadine, who quacks at me all day, these voices don't motivate us. They freeze us. They paralyze us. They make us not move. They make us seem like everything's hard. When really and truly what's hard is making the voice shut up. That's the hard part. And I know I might sound like a crazy person saying, I have these voices, but we do. Every one of us has these voices. We just don't talk about them much. And I want you to, if you don't take anything away from this training, take away this. Start listening to those voices and documenting what they're saying, because usually it's the opposite that's true. So every one of them I gave you, I should be further by now. I'm right where I need to be. I don't have time for this. I do have time for this. It won't work anyway. It will work. I'll just push through. I don't have to just push through. All of those are real life examples that I live through every day. And I know there's so many of you that are living through the same thing that I am. So I want to talk about how this relates to systems. And by systems, I want you to think of it as this could be task management. This could be a receipt app. This could be your accounting software. This could be any system you possibly could think of. Because what I have found is a lot of people are still doing like not having a receipt app that where you're having to like manually play with receipts and do all the things. But my favorite system is a task management system. And that is the one that I have seen the most progress with is a task management system. Because you see, I already talked about how we have Nadine here talking to me all day long. So when she's talking to me and I have all my tasks in my head feels overwhelmed and it feels like chaos. And then there's inconsistent follow through. I was talking with one of our previous coaching clients today about her ClickUp system. And she said that basically, and she was with us maybe 3 years ago, and she's like, there was inconsistent follow through. And I'm like, well, why was that? And she's like, the team just would not get on board. And I hear this a lot. And a lot of times it's the owner that's actually not on board, or it's the wrong system, or there's no shared place for work because we all have the information siloed. So this person has it over here, you have it here, they have it over here. And so everything is actually siloed. And no clarity on what actually matters right now. So we're at the time of this recording, we're at the beginning of February. And so a lot of you don't even have clarity right now. And what I mean by that is I was talking to a financial planner and she was talking to me about exit planning. And she was like, why do business owners struggle with exit planning? And I was like, because a lot of them are just trying to get through the next hour, then the next 2 hours, the next 3 hours, the rest of the day, and then the morning. And then we start that cycle all over again. And that's where I want you to think about systems is how can I use systems in my business to actually relieve some of that pressure because you're not trying to remember everything. And that's where a lot of overwhelm comes from is because we're trying to remember everything. And we're constantly saying, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. But what if we had a system that said, don't forget? But a lot of times what I see in systems is we implement them and then nobody uses them. So therefore, we're paying for systems that we don't use, or they're not the right system and we don't use them, or they're implemented incorrectly so we don't use them. Because systems are not about doing more. They're about deciding less. They're about doing less. Because this is where the magic is. Systems fail because they're added on top of chaos. And I remember when we were implementing a lot of our systems that we still use to this day, some of them we have been on since 2014 or 2015. I had to implement the system, but I had to get clear on the chaos. So I'll use a receipt capture one. We had to actually implement the receipt capture. We implemented it for the firm first, and then we went down our client list. But we were very strategic in how we did it. So that's the thing with systems is you have to be strategic in how you do them. No matter what system you're trying to implement, whether it's payroll, HR, task management, accounting, it doesn't matter. You have to tame the chaos to put the system in, because when we build systems on top of chaos, it creates more chaos. Or we implement them without addressing the mindset. I've had some conversations with some companies lately, and we were talking about change management and why they can't get anything implemented but we're not addressing the change mindset and how most people don't like change. And when you're implementing systems, you have to have the buy-in and you have to have follow through on the implementations. I have seen companies drag out implementations for years because they did not have an implementation plan or buy-in. And you have to, no matter how big or small your business is. And the biggest one I see on this, no one believes it will actually make their life easier. And I've done some big payroll and HR implementations. I've done some big task management implementations. And I've done some big accounting implementations. And this is one thing that I see over and over is they don't look past the now and what that system will actually bring in the future. And I've seen this hold companies back from actually making the move that they needed to make in order to be successful because of lack of the mindset part. So what I want you to remember is a system without buy-in just becomes another thing to ignore. I want you to let that sink in. A system without buy-in just becomes another thing to ignore. And I have found that to be true in my own business, in our coaching clients' businesses, in our accounting clients' businesses. That is the truth, no matter what type of system that it is. So when these things are addressed together, the noise in your head gets quiet. You no longer wake up in the middle of the night afraid you're going to forget something. You have systems that are doing some of the work for you. And I know in the accounting profession, there's a lot of things against AI and all the things. But at the end of the day, it's about client experience and it's about how we can make people better because those relationships are important and decisions become clear. This has been one of the things that it's helped my team make decisions because they have access to all the information because it's in a system. It's in a process. And your work stops living everywhere. Because if you have books of notes of things you need to do, you have Post-it notes, you have stuff living in your head, you have all this stuff everywhere, nobody else has access to it, including yourself. And then you're like, where did I put that? Or when you have it in a system, it keeps you from suffocating. Systems start supporting you and actually what you started your business for or what you're working towards. And you stop feeling behind all the time. Because when systems are built the right way, they actually remove things from your plate. They don't add to it. It's a short-term problem. And many of you have partial systems and you just need to tweak them. So I want you to remember this. February is not too late and it's not too early. It's actually the perfect moment before overwhelm turns into burnout. Because for some of you, you're either just starting your business or you're just in that mix. It's the perfect moment. And if you are feeling overwhelmed, we can break it down into little bite-sized pieces where you can shift something. Because a lot of people that we work with, it's not the owners that are doing the work, it's their actual team. Because this isn't just another thing to do. Another thing to do equals a bad system. A right system equals fewer decisions, fewer fryers, fewer late nights. So if it feels like one more thing, it's not the right thing. Or it's not the right time or approach. So I went really deep into a lot of this stuff I'm talking about right now in the webinar that I just did. So if you want the replay to that, I walked through a lot of this in more detail. And I also have some some things to help you with your inner voice and the and systems that that we gave away for free. I'll be glad to send you those as well. So if you want that replay, drop replay below and we'll get that over to you. Because if you're feeling overwhelmed right now or know it's coming, I really encourage you to watch the replay while it's fresh. Because this isn't about adding more, it's finally about creating space. So if you want that full replay, comment replay below. And I hope this training was helpful to reframe how you think about, number one, Nadine that's sitting over here because she's talking to me loudly like, Leslie, stop talking. You know, and that's what we deal with every day. I want you to share that with anybody that needs this, that is feeling overwhelmed in their business or their job. Share this because these are the things that make people better. And that's what this is about. So I hope to see you soon. Have a great rest of your day.